Hello and welcome to another episode of Perkasie Business Chat. Today my guest is Dr. Lindsey Cerdas, a new business here in town with Perkasie Dental Loft. Hello, Dr. Cerdas. How are you today?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks for joining us today. Now, I understand that you were born and raised in Bangor. You went to dental school at Temple University. You live in Willow Grove. Now, how the heck did you end up in Perkasie?
Yeah, two totally different locations, very different in, the town setting, everything. So we're living in Willow Grove. I went to school at Temple, and that's how we ended up down in Willow Grove area. My husband got a job in Plymouth Meeting, so we really liked the area. We bought a house and stayed there, but commuting up to my parents all the time, we would drive through this area, and we always knew we wanted to move a little bit further, closer to family. Coming up 309, one day we kind of veered off into Perkasie. My husband had been here for work as well. And it seemed like a really quaint, small town. It felt a little bit like home, but a little bit more suburban at the same time. We liked to see that it seemed like a growing area, a popular area as well, but an area of small businesses where kind of the small businesses are growing together and, working together, and that small town feel, the history of it, the tree lighting ceremony. You had those traditional roots where working class people as well. You were keeping that tradition, but kind of putting a modern spin on it as it's growing as a community as well.
Well, that's great. That's the image that we are trying to portray to the rest of the world, and I'm glad it got through to you. Now, I understand one of your first introductions to Perkasie was at the Perk.
Yes, it was. Yeah. That was one of the first places we kind of did our research, looked around to figure out the best place to go and try to get a feel of Perkasie and the people of the community. So we went into the Perk, and it was automatically, I was like, it felt a little bit like home to me. You could tell it was like the center restaurant of town. Everybody was there of all different, backgrounds, everything. And you could just feel the sense of community there. Everyone knew each other, it felt like. So we were really, it kind of made us set in stone that we knew that this was the area we wanted to be in. These were the patients that I wanted to serve.
That's really great. I'm sure Larry over at the Perk will be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, the Perkasie Dental Loft, that sounds like an interesting concept. And I noticed in one of your introductory videos, you mentioned that you want people to look forward to come to the dentist. Yeah. That's quite a challenge on your part. So tell us why people will want to come to Perkasie Dental Loft.
Yeah. I think first off, the welcoming environment, it's really all about the environment. And we're told every single day by almost 80% of our patients, the first thing they say is, I don't like coming to the dentist. It's not that I don't like you, I just don't like coming here. And I get that. But the space, when we first went into this space, I automatically knew with the big windows, it felt so open. And I felt like that, just for some patients right off the bat, was going to be a huge difference. It didn't feel like it was closed in. And then when we created the space, we just wanted to keep that open feel. And then my personality, I try to keep it light for the patients and, bring down their fears, explain everything to them. And then you have other elements such as our TVs in the room. You can listen to music, everything from those different aspects, just even the smells and the lavender smells, like that kind of calms patients sometimes. So using all those different elements to kind of bring patients in and make them enjoy their experience and kind of bring down their fear levels, especially.
That sounds very cool. One thing we didn't mention is that you're on the third floor of Borough Hall, right on Chestnut Street. That seems to be a pretty good location, central location, and as you mentioned, great views of the town.
Yeah.
Has that been a big renovation project for you up there?
It was. When we first came in, it was it's two suites that we joined. And the one suite was totally open. We even actually kept the open concept of the ceiling that they had because it made the space feel so open. And it worked out perfect. I mean, the large windows, it just feels so open. It's a huge building. Everybody can see it. We're right here in the center of town. It's really easy for most people to locate us. And I think just kind of the borough being a central location, and we're right here, and everybody's been super supportive already. So it's worked out great.
I wouldn't expect anything else. What is your staff composed of? How many people do you have working there?
So right now we have one front desk, and I'm working with one assistant. So it's really just going to be the three of us initially as we kind of get things rolling. So actually, they both just started on Tuesday of this week. So we are in the office and we're starting to take patient calls, schedule patients.
Cool. What sort of services do you offer?
So we're a general practice, both children and adults. I tend to do really well with children, so I really do like seeing them, and I'm not, that's not an issue. We kind of do from everything: exams, cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canals, as we see fit in the office. We may refer to specialists in some cases. Even from implants, sometimes we are going to be bringing in a specialist possibly and doing implants as well, so that we want patients to be able to stay in the office as much as possible, because I think once they like it here, they're going to want to stay here. So, even cosmetic dentistry, veneers, whitening, things like that, we're really doing a lot. Invisalign.
When, before you went into practice for yourself, were you working for another dentist?
Yeah. I worked as an associate right out of school. And that kind of was, as soon as I started working, it was automatic that I knew I loved what I was doing. I think when I went to dental school, it was one of those things where I was kind of like, I'm going to do this. And then you get into it and you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to stick with it. But it was once I got out and I was actually practicing that I realized how much I really love what I'm doing. And I think it kind of, people saw that. And even like people that I worked with, they were the ones that kind of really pushed me and said, you're really good at what you're doing. And that was like, okay, I want to have my own practice. I want to do this myself. I want it to be, I always believe in working for what you have makes you more appreciative. So I wanted to be able to build from scratch and just do that myself. And I might as well do it while I'm young.
That sounds like a good plan.
There's no harm in trying.
One of the things I noticed is you have a pretty cool logo. And in talking before our little interview here, you mentioned that incorporates a little bit of the history of Perkasie area as well as what you're specializing in. Tell us a little bit about your logo.
Yeah, so actually, and that was kind of a huge thought process too, trying to figure out with Perkasie some kind of logo concept where people might recognize, and it'll be central to the location. I didn't want just something general that could be pulled all over the place. I want it to be directed to Perkasie. And I noticed the covered bridge theme was a major thing that kept coming up on the borough's website and all over, trying to raise money for the covered bridge renovation. So we took that concept and ran with it, and then we ended up coming with this really simple modern design of it. And when we drew it out, it ended up looking like a toothbrush. So we just added the line, and if you look at it, it kind of looks like a toothbrush with some toothpaste over it. But if you centralize in, it's just a covered bridge there, just in a modern, simple way.
Very creative. All good logos have more than one meaning. So
yeah. And I think it's tough to see it at first, but once you explain it, it's like, oh wow, that's really cool.
Sure. And that's when the light bulb goes on. That's really cool. You're right. The last thing, in some of the conversations we had, you're going to make a donation to the ALS Foundation for every patient that comes in. Tell us why that is.
Yeah. So, and that's actually one thing we haven't really promoted real big yet. But every new patient that comes in, a portion of their new patient fees will be going towards the ALS Association, the Greater Philadelphia chapter. And that's directly related to something that I'm connected to myself. In 2007, my dad was actually diagnosed with a slow progressing form of ALS, which most people know as Lou Gehrig's. And then other people can associate it with the Ice Bucket Challenge a couple years ago. So he has a slow progressing form, we're really fortunate for that. But it definitely takes a huge toll. It's a big toll on the families, caretakers, even their spouses. So the association has given us, they provided like my father with a stair lift. They've really helped out, and they help out other families as well. And there's families in way worse positions. So I felt really obligated to use the practice as a way to be able to give back to an association, especially one that's kind of helped my family and myself. And, that kind of in general, just my dad, everything, it's a huge motivator in everything I'm doing. Another reason why I've started young. Some people say, why'd you do this? Like, it's crazy that nobody's doing it anymore. And I'm like, well, my dad was 35 when he was diagnosed.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he was really young, and you never know what can happen.
Right.
So
Well, when
that's
you're young is the time to take the big steps. That's when they're going to pay off the most for you anyway. That's very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
Dr. Cerdas, tell us how people can get in touch with you if they need to make an appointment.
Yeah. So they can call the office. We are in the office now on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 8 to 5 and 9 to 3 on Fridays. Our phone number is 267-517-6670. They can also email us at info@perkasiedentalloft.com. And those would be really the best ways to get a hold of us. If we don't pick up, I do have access to the phone, and I'm calling patients back usually the day that they call, even if we're not in office. So if they're really interested, want information, they can gladly call, leave a message, and we'll get back to them.
Well, I certainly appreciate you taking the time today to introduce yourself to the Perkasie community. I'm pretty sure people will be receptive to your cause. And I'm honored to be your first patient on June 30th at 8 a.m. And that's just by the luck of the draw. I happened to call.
We're very excited.
Open. So I'll give everybody a firsthand review of my experience when we're all done.
Okay.
And we look forward to you being part of all the great events that are happening in Perkasie, especially that tree lighting. You have a bird's eye view for the farmers market on Saturday mornings. A lot of good things happening in town, and you're one of them. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you. I'm very excited. We're moving to the area, so we're going to be close, and we're excited to kind of partake in everything as well.
Okay, Lindsey, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.